Hey there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make some beautiful pastel invitations that will be perfect for Easter, spring parties, or even wedding invitations. Today's video is brought to you by Papermart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. Here you can see some of the supplies we'll be using: some beautiful paper tape, washi tape, doilies, baker's twine, and of course cardstock and envelopes. I love to use doilies on my paper crafting and scrapbooking products, so the other day I was curious as to whether or not it was acid-free, so I used my pH tester pen and tested it, and sure enough, my doilies were acid-free from Papermart, so I was so excited. Not that it's that important when you're dealing with card making, because a lot of people don't save their cards, but with wedding invitations, a lot of times people keep those invitations with their wedding photos, and you don't want it to damage anything. Now, these square doilies from Papermart make beautiful envelope liners, and they'll line any envelopes that have the peaked flap like these invitation size ones do. So what you want to do is cut the doily in half and then cut it in half again, and then you'll have 4 pointy liners. To make my liner a little bit narrower so it will fit perfectly in my invitation-sized envelopes, I simply cut them down at the edges. I decided to follow the curve of that lace, that way it would look really custom and pretty and look like I bought it that way. Now I'm going to cut the point off the bottom of the liner. You want to keep the rest of that there, and look, it'll sit right into my envelope perfectly. Isn't that pretty? Now you don't need to glue it in, but if you want to glue it on the back of the liner where there isn't a laciness. That way the adhesive won't squirt through and stick to your card. So that's how you do that. Simple as pie. For this card, we're going to work on vellum, and we're going to be attaching it to some cardstock pieces. So what I did was, in my computer software, I typed out my invitation information 4 times on a 8.5 by 11 document, and then I printed it on vellum. I printed it first on typing paper though, just to make sure it would all work out. And then I used my specialty vellum. Now the reason you want to do this is so you don't waste. Vellum is pretty affordable nowadays. You can get a pack of 50 sheets for about $10 at the office supply store or craft store, and that would give you 200 panels. So you can see how it can be a very affordable, elegant way to make your wedding invitations. Then I simply trimmed them into quarters. And then I thought, to make it a little fancier, I'd use my decorative scissors just to cut off the bottom. Now you could trim all edges with those if you want to. It's completely up to you, but I think it looks really elegant just to have that scallop on the bottom there. You want to do that for every one of the invitations you're making. See how simple? Vellum is transparent, so to attach it to your card, you want to make sure you're going to use something that's not going to show where you don't want it to. I'm going to use brads for this invitation to give it a little more formal of a look. I used a thumbtack just to poke a little hole in the corner, and then I'm going to poke in a tiny heart-shaped brad. I think that looks so elegant. I only poke one hole at a time because it keeps the paper from shifting, so that way I don't end up with any puckers or anything. So then just insert that last brad, and you pull the prongs apart in the back to secure it. We're going to be wrapping this with a doily in a moment, so that'll keep any of the prongs from snagging in the envelope. I think it's a really elegant touch and just ideal for any sort of formal invitation, whether it be a graduation or a wedding. For a more playful or casual card, I prefer to use washi tape. It adds such a fun, playful pattern to a project, and you can kind of give it a little punch of color, and I just think it's fun. And Papermart has so many designs and colors, and it's only $1.36 or so a roll for 10 yards of it, so you can't beat that. There, you can see the different effects, but I think they're both beautiful. It just depends on the look you're going for. Now we're going to take a 6-inch round doily, and we're going to create a wrap for our card. Now this is so affordable, and as I mentioned before, they're acid-free, which is totally awesome. I'm simply centering my cardstock piece in the middle of the doily and folding over the edges. You want to try to keep it as centered as you can. It just looks so pretty and ladylike, and I just love it. Now I'm taking some of this paper ribbon, which has a really great texture and crinkle to it, and I am wrapping that around my invitation. And the cool thing about this is that you really don't waste much when you're working with it. I have about 2 inches hanging over the side. I'm going to trim it, and that's going to give me just enough to tie it with. You might want to give yourself a little bit more if you're a little clumsy or if you've never worked with this before. But it's great because it's inexpensive and you still don't have to waste very much of it. And also, if you get your products in white like I do, you can spray dye it or tea dye it or whatever you like. I thought this baker's twine from Paper Mart would accent my project so nicely. I put it in a little easy lunchbox tray there, my little bento box, to keep it from rolling all over my table while I'm working with it. And what I'm going to do is just wrap it a couple times around because I like to have that little extra stripe. I think it's pretty. And then I'm trimming off just enough so that I'll be able to tie it. Again, I work from the spool because I don't like to waste. Now I'm simply going to tie that in a double knot. And here's a little trick for you. I'm going to tie the paper ribbon on top, and that's going to secure it down, and it's going to make it look really professional. Simply fluff out the ends of the paper ribbon and then trim the ends of the baker's twine so it's just the right length that you like it, and it's looking pretty good. We also need to do something about the doily sticking out at the bottom and top, so I'm just going to trim that out. Just eyeball it with your scissors. It's so easy, and now it looks so pretty with the matching envelope. Isn't that just darling? If you want to make a really inexpensive embellishment for these cards, you can. You can make little flowers that won't add extra postage to your invitations. So what I've done here is taken a little synthetic flower petal that come in a bag of 400 from Paper Mart for about $2, and I'm coloring it with permanent markers. Or you can dye these. If you have a bunch to do, just go ahead and dye them. Roll one petal up and then wrap it with another petal and just roll that around there, simple as can be, and then follow up with your third and final petal. Now you could do this whatever color you want. Like I said before, buy it in white and color it however you like. I twisted the 3 petals together on the bottom, and now I'm taking a little bit of narrow green washi tape, also available at Paper Mart, and I'm wrapping it around the bottom to secure it. All right, just give it a couple wraps around to make sure it's nice and sturdy. Then you can just tuck it in behind the ribbon and it looks so pretty. If you're happy with the way you placed it, you may want to just use a little glue dot or a little drop of glue behind the knot on the ribbon so it doesn't damage the invitation. You can decide whether you prefer the card with the rose or without. I think they're both beautiful. I want to thank you so much for watching today and thank our sponsor Paper Mart for sponsoring this video. You can find them online at www.papermart.com where we make you look even better. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you like easy invitation videos. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting!